Okay, so this is the 3D printed mold on the back of a piece of wood. And we went with a 600, then a 1000, 200, and then a polish. So let's see if I can't get some. Oh, that light's not doing any justice, but it's a nice shiny surface and finish. I'll show you the other half that hasn't been prepped yet. You can still see some of the fine grains, a little bit of splatter from the spraying. So yeah, so we make the two halves and then we bond the two halves together and we take it from there. So I'm going to hand lay up this piece. Yeah, look, I'm going to hand lay up. I'll do the two skins, then I'm going to vacuum it, bag it, so I can get these little corners, and I just really want a nice solid finish. I'm going to take some time on this one. It's a little bit of a nightmare to take time, but I'm going to. And then once I've done the skins and vacuumed the skins, then I'm going to do the structural layers inside of a nice deep dish on the back of the wheel, so all the electronics can go in there. We can hide everything away, keep everything nice and clean. Alright guys, let's get going. These have been infused. To give you an idea on this layup, we've got 6 layers of carbon on the rear. I did the first layup, then I debulked, then I actually infused the whole first layer just so I can try and get the aesthetics right. Then I did the next 5 layers, and then in between here where the mounting point is for the quick release, I've got 2 layers of Kevlar inside there. And then obviously this is just the front of the wheel. What we're going to do now with this is I've got a nice piece of aluminium that's going to be put inside here, and then I will do another 2 layers of carbon over that. I'm going to actually glue the aluminium down this time using that structural epoxy, and then I'm going to do another 2 layers just to neaten it off. You don't really need to do it, but that's why I'll do it, and that will give us the strength we need. Alrighty, now trimmed. A little bit of the Kevlar in there. This has been trimmed. Next steps now is, you can see there's a raised bevel that's not exactly level, and you can almost see where the mold used to be. So all I'm going to do is take it and put it on a sander now, sand down the edges to get it to that perfect height. Keep measuring, keep sanding, keep measuring, keep sanding. Same thing for this. Then we've left little grooves here because I want to run that structural adhesive inside here, and then squish these all together and let that ooze hopefully into some of these areas over here. And yeah, that'll be that. And then in the front here we'll cut this whole front section out, just a square or rectangular area, and that'll pop off whenever we need to work inside of it, on and off, and we've got like 2.5mm little screws, flathead countersunk screws that'll go in here, and that will be the carbon fiber steering wheel. You can see it coming together slowly. I can't tell you how long it's taken us to design this thing, but we're getting there. Let's see where we end up now. Okay, so what I've done is I've just taken some tape and I've just run it on the inside here, and just trimmed the edges to reveal the little channel. So if a little bit of resin gets in there, I'm quite happy with that. On this side, because of the blade thickness, I'm going to take a little bit of filler and fill the edges, sand it, fill it, sand it, then once it pops out, just kind of edge it off, and then when you put it in, there should be a very close tolerance there. I'm not happy with the 1 mil tolerance that's there now currently. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run carbon fiber along the edges, overlapping onto here, and then that will allow me to have a flange to screw into to take this thing on and off. The face of the steering wheel on and off, and understanding that this face is going to hold the micron, or we have another system we might be running, so it needs to be quite sturdy. So I'm going to get to it, probably 2 layers of 280 gram carbon. A little bit messy, but we're getting there. Over trimmed it there a little bit, but I'll fix that, no problem. Once we finish, you won't even see it. You can see that the 2 halves are pretty much there. I mean, they fit quite nicely together. A little bit happier now that I've had some more sanding done. Okay, so one of the ideas I had was to use some filleting wax and just block off these little areas, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 there, and put a piece of filleting wax that's slightly raised or slightly exposed. The bulk of the adhesion is taking place in the grips, and also the bulk of our strength actually rests in these grips. We've got loads of carbon. So to combine, we've got about 9 or 10 layers of carbon running these areas through here. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to run this here, the adhesive, structural adhesive in there, fill it up on both sides, and then squish the two together, clamp it, and then maybe even wrap up the handles to keep everything nice and square. If there is any exothermic reaction and it starts to push, at least it's nice and strong. So yep, let's get going on that one. We're nearly there. Alright, this is what devastation to a workshop looks like. My battery went flat on the other phone that I was using to record, but the 2 halves are now kind of glued together, and I tried really hard to get it in and just smooth out the glue so we don't have big chunky pieces of glue floating around. But I must say that these little walls that we built have definitely worked, because we've had no resin, no adhesive coming through any of these tubes, and I've been working with it back and forth. So that's what it looks like now. I'm going to throw it in the oven. I've still got to post cure this bad boy, but I only want to do that once I'm finished the entire piece and everything's working, and I don't have to make any more modifications and changes and amendments and so forth. So yeah, that's what it looks like. Alright, so this has been baking now for about 7 hours. 7 hours at 60 degrees So I will still need to do a little bit more baking, but I couldn't wait anymore. I wanted to see what it looked like. It's as straight as it came out, so obviously there's still lots of trimming and sanding to do to get it all right. And you can see I left a thicker layer of glue, knowing I was going to sand it down. And inside that little, well, let's see if I can get in there actually. Those little dams, they work perfectly, absolutely perfectly. You can see we had no resin runoff at all. So you can even see that little dam at the bottom down there worked. So I'm very, very happy with this. I can't tell you how many hours I've put into making this, and through all the different design processes. So very grateful that it's come out fairly well. Going to sand it down and then mount all the bits and pieces. Now we've got everything that needs to go into it, and then once that's done, I will clear coat it and put the stickers on. So that's what it looks like. So far so good, and it weighs 300 grams. It's amazing how strong the stuff is. It's just absolutely solid. I mean, I was earlier when I took it out, I was busy flexing and playing with it, and there is just no flex. It's just so rigid. Not even a crickle, not even a crack, nothing. It doesn't move. It doesn't even know that I'm busy forcing it. So I'm extremely happy. I'm going to be quite excited to see it finished, and the quick release is arriving this week, so that's also going to be cool to see.